Previously on Sydney World Pride.
So a friend just told me Progress Shark exists, so we absolutely have to go. Like, there's no question about that, like, going to be the highlight of the trip. So, like, come on, get ready, we're going to see Progress Shark. Alright? Let's go!
In 300 meters, your destination will be on the left.
Oh my gosh. I can see a fin. It's Progress Shark! Aha! So you may be thinking, Artemis, why are you so goddamn excited about this shark? It's clearly just another piece of pink-washed advertising. And whilst, yes, you were kind of right, it still is important to me for a few reasons. The first being, it's a shark. Given my ADHD-ness, I almost always have like a thing, special interest, hyperfixation, call it what you will, but 8 to 10-year-old Artemis definitely had a thing about sharks. Like, I would spend every afternoon after school in the local library reading every single book they had about these magnificent creatures. Once eventually I'd read them all, I attempted to start a society called Save Our Sharks, which was intent on, I guess, rehabilitating sharks' image problem. We could alter their bad reputation by teaching people the facts, because that's all it takes, right? To help people unlearn this deep-seated fear that's been conditioned into them by society, is just learning the facts. Oh, I wish it was that easy. But anyway, my optimistic little child brain did manage to convince 3 people to join my club, and by join my club, I mean they didn't come to any of the meetings, but I did get them to sign like the piece of carbon paper that I'd made that like printed them a receipt that said they were a part of the club, that I had their signature to. And for someone with no friends, that's really impressive. All of this is to say that sharks will always mean a lot to me, but Progress Shark means more to me than any old shark, because it's the progress flag. The progress flag was designed by Daniel Quasar, with the base being the commonly used rainbow pride flag. The black and brown stripes represent people of colour, with the black stripe additionally representing those living with HIV. The pink, white and blue stripes represent the trans community, including non-binary people, and the triangle represents forward progress, the idea that our community must continue to move forward into the fight for our rights. When designing the shark friend that would sit outside this museum, they could have just draped it in that basic rainbow and been done with it. But they didn't do that. They chose the progress flag, a flag that explicitly states that people of colour and trans people are not just a part of the queer community, but an important part. That shouldn't be a controversial statement in 2023, but apparently it is. The anti-trans movement has never been stronger. The hateful minority seeking to eradicate trans people continues to worm its way into positions of power, policy, and law. People of colour continue to feel either tokenized or excluded from pride events, whilst queers escaping persecution are forced into offshore processing centres where they are abused and forgotten. This shark could have been wearing any old flag, but it wears this one. They didn't have to choose the progress flag, but they did. I've been here for a couple of weeks, and the pinkwashing and corporatization of pride is everywhere. Like, it's surreal, like gross and unwelcoming. I definitely get the sense that pride is being pitched at the kind of queer I'm not, like your white, cis, allo, conventionally attractive, non-disabled club gay who parties on the weekend but then goes back to their corporate job and nice house in the suburbs once the party's over. Yeah, and I'm certain that none of these businesses would actually have the back of me and my friends in the fight for our rights, like especially the ones that are covered with AAVE. Like, it is painfully obvious that those businesses have zero understanding of the history of their language they're using, or even the community they're trying to advertise to. Like, they seriously think that we all watch RuPaul's Drag Race and that's it. It would be funny if it weren't so gross. I don't think the museum is about to be hugely involved in the fight for queer rights. Like, they could correct me if I'm wrong, but truthfully, I don't think so. But I do at least think that they dress this shark with some more awareness of queer issues than the other businesses I've been talking about. Unlike the other rainbowifications of Sydney, when I look at Progress Shark, I don't feel disgust. I feel safe, comforted, watched over. Which brings me to the Blahaj of it all. If you've yet to hear about how Blahaj, IKEA's plush shark, is a trans icon, you're either probably not queer or not very online, in which case, how the heck did you find me? I've like zero reach with this channel, what the hell? More likely than that, you probably do know Blahaj is a trans icon, but you may not know why. And the truth is, memes. It's memes. But beyond that, there's no specific reason this shark plush resonates with trans people. People will have their individual reasons, but now that it is associated with the community, Blahaj is a symbol that means more than any designer at IKEA or any particular meme creator could have initially intended. And all it took was one of us making a joke, and the rest of us agreeing that, yes, Blahaj says trans rights. And now, Blahaj is a symbol of the trans community. Now, symbols get a lot of hate, but as someone who did a unit on semiotics in my theatre degree, I understand how important they can be for communication, especially if you're intending on communicating in any degree of speediness. I'm going to put a few symbols up on screen. Apologies to my blind or low vision friends, but I will catch you up on how I interpret those symbols later. I'm curious to see what meaning they communicate to you. All right, let's go. If you got recycle Amazon to gay communism or something along those lines, hopefully you should understand a little bit about how symbols can be an important part of how we communicate. Hate it as much as I do, the party corporatized version of Pride still says something despite being a purely symbolic gesture. It says, we're going to take up space and you're going to applaud us for it. Which can be a pretty powerful message, especially for those who've been forced to hide who they are out of fear. I've been active in asexual pride spaces since I was a baby queer, and I have to say, if there's any part of the community that loves itself a symbol, it's the aces. Like cake, garlic bread, dragons, playing cards, rings. These symbols do little more than signal to the community that you're a part of the community, but that's still an important function. They let us know that you're safe, or sometimes even just make us smile or laugh, which is important too. Blahaj has come to take on that same function. If someone has one on display and knows it's called Blahaj, then they are signaling that they're either a part of the community or a friend to the community. Perhaps it is just the fact that Progress Shark reminds me of Blahaj that makes me feel comforted. I can't say for sure. But I do know that when I look at it, I feel the vibe of a warm hug. I look at Progress Shark and I see someone that, if not a part of the community, is a powerful ally. Progress Shark is friend-shaped. The triangle shape on the Progress flag stands for forward progress. It reminds us that while we have come far, we have so much further to go. We cannot get complacent and stop fighting. We cannot just party and then go home and forget our community whilst it is continually being attacked. Some sharks cannot stop swimming or they'll die. The great white shark is one of those species. Likewise, I feel like our community cannot stop fighting, else we're doomed to be destroyed by movements that want us extinct, like so many species of shark are dangerously close to being. Progress Shark, like Blahaj, reminds us to keep fighting. That Pride is not merely a party, but a protest. A great big fuck you to anyone who dares ask us to hide or make ourselves smaller. Progress Shark sits there proudly on the street and asks us to remember where we've come from, but to always keep moving forward, and to revel in some queer joy wherever we can find it along the way.
Hey, Progress Shark would want you to hear this, so please stick around. Here's a quick little step that you can take towards making your community a better place. That's what Progress Shark would want. Me and a bunch of other creators are doing this thing called Praxis Town Projects, where each month we give you something short and actionable. I can't promise a video every month, but this month I've got one, and the thing we're encouraging you all to do this month is to find a mutual aid group in your area. If they have a fund, give some money to that if you can. If not, you can donate some time, some energy. These are all things we can do to make our communities better. Every step that we take towards bettering our communities brings us towards a better world. So just open up a new tab, type mutual aid, and then the name of the city you're in. Hopefully you find something. If not, maybe talk to your friends about getting something started up, but I know that's a much bigger project. But the simple task is to find out what is around near you and to get involved. So go ahead and do that. Those are my patron names. I love them to pieces. They remind me that people actually care and that I should keep trying to put things on the internet. I would have probably given up a long time ago if it weren't for them. But yeah, cool. See you later.
Blahaj.